action.
And welcome everyone to the goddamn.
You know, YouTube really doesn't like when you say "damn" on the first minute of the video.
It's a magic card. We can get away with it.
Oh my God, that's great. To the goddamn what?
The goddamn Magic Morals podcast. I am your host, Alison, and I'm joined by...
You have like 7 words to say. You're joined by Joe Cherries, the host of Nitpicking Nerds, and this podcast as well.
And I'm also a host as well. My name is Alper Markov, and I'm so proud of you, Alison. And last but not least...
Don't go into acting, Alison.
I'm only 8. I have no idea what's going on here, guys. I just wandered here, and people were chatting, and I guess I'm kind of chatty.
Elba came in.
I'm Elba.
And he's late.
I'm Elba from Fazendo Nerdice.
And he came in with a brown paper bag, and he was stumbling, and we were like, "What's going on?" And he's like, "Okay." So I feel like we should preface, though, we are going to be discussing things that involve spoilers. So spoilers are happening from here on out. So if you don't like spoilers, or if you do like them, but you don't like me, just stop watching, but do like and subscribe. And so spoilers are coming. Are we ready? Are we ready? Can we talk spoilers now?
Oh, I was ready. I've been ready since the beginning. I knew spoilers were coming. I came in here with this knowledge.
I mean, the name of the episode is literally spoiler alert. So
it's you see what it is it's sort of, I'm trying to create a show for the people, like
if you will.
create a show for the people to watch. Like,
as you can see from my introduction, I have no idea.
I'm trying to create sort of like, I don't know, like
we're failing forward.
That we're friends. People believe that we like each other is what I'm trying to commit.
They're fools.
The magic of the internet. Hey,
the magic of the internet. Okay, so
Bruce Willis was dead all along.
Wait, what?
Yeah, that's it. Sixth Sense. Bruce Willis was dead all along.
Oh yeah, that actually might be probably the biggest spoiler, like biggest possible spoiler you could spoil of all time, right?
No. Darth Vader being Luke's father is a pretty big one too. If you don't know that, but it's pretty common knowledge at this point.
Yeah, but that's 3 movies, and it's like, okay, he's his father.
It's a pretty big spoiler.
Yeah, but did it make you gasp the way the Bruce Willis? Because I remember seeing that and just going like,
I think if you saw that one in theaters, you would have gasped at that.
I'm with Joe. I actively look on YouTube for reaction videos of little kids watching Star Wars for the first time, and like they flip.
It's a big shock when you don't know, even though his name is Dark Father. It catches you off guard.
It's weird. It's weird that I've known the phrase "I am your father" and the whole context behind it before I even watched my first Star Wars movie. So I was just.
You gotta remember lexicon. It is, but remember, the target audience for that movie are kids 6 to 10. People tend to forget that.
I was the freak. We were watching Star Wars, and I was like 7, and I was like, boring. I didn't. I know.
Where's the gore? Where's the vampires?
I missed the zeitgeist. I missed it. And you know what? I've never seen the Star Wars or Star Trek. I've seen Star Search once, and American Idol once or twice, but that wasn't good either. But
The Voice, maybe.
What? The Boys?
The Voice, maybe. I don't know.
Oh, I thought you said The Boys. I was like, now I've been meaning to watch that show, but I also have been meaning to. Okay, so Alba, the spoiler, that the incident, the great spoiler leak of 2022 is what we'll call it, where Amazon got some pages from the upcoming book on Dominaria. Are you aware of the great
spoiler of 2022?
I do believe the book is a character book. That's all it is, and it has like locations and characters, and then within these blurbs there is some spoilers that were not intended to be leaked. It's not a book about Dominaria.
I'm with Joe. I don't think it's not a novel. Certainly not a novel. It's kind of like
it's a visual guide.
Exactly.
Visual guide. That's what it's called. That's what we're looking at.
Yeah.
But if I'm not mistaken, all of the characters that they discuss are pretty Dominaria heavy, at least the focuses that I've seen. I know they talk about New Capenna and stuff, but the big reveals that they gave away were very Dominaria centric.
One of the biggest spoilers is from Chandra, and she's not Dominarian. She's
no, she isn't.
Kaladesh.
She's from Kaladesh.
Yeah, I think the reason why Dominaria is spoilery and the other places aren't is because we're done with New Capenna, we're done with Ikoria, we're done with Strixhaven, and Dominaria is the next big thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm absolutely
and also
sure.
it's the only spot for spoilers, right?
Exactly.
We
sure
only between this and
now,
the book, the only sets are Dominarian based. So
yeah, exactly.
Now, I feel like this is now, I guess, I mean, and I've interviewed Jay. Jay's great. Like, he's an incredible writer. He does a great job every time he does this. So, but if this is not something, since now they've officially canceled the James Wyatt art books, like the big, nice, like, which I loved. I don't know if you guys have ever had a chance to like read those. Like they were fantastic. And so those are officially over. So I think that this type of thing is supposed to be a supplement to that.
Yeah.
But they've covered like the Eldrazi and they've covered Amonkhet. I mean, like, it seems, I mean, maybe a little redundant, but then again, it's possibly just there to recruit new people, and I'm just not really thinking.
Well, are you guys ready to put on your tinfoil hats?
Yes,
now,
I am.
Now, how about this? We spoil on the blurb, on the marketing blurb, we show spoilers for Dominaria, and we're talking about all the other planes. Now, how many people do you think would buy this visual guide? Because, maybe it says something about the rest of Amonkhet. Because of the entire plane of Amonkhet, we've only seen that one city. Out of the entire plane of New Capenna, we only seen that one city. So this book contains spoilers from planes we haven't visited.
So
what are the others? It could be a marketing ploy to say, here be spoilers from unreleased content.
So
buy.
So my theory would be, if we're tinfoil hatting, wouldn't be that. It would be that this was intentional, but it's because Magic is boring right now. And there's standard is boring. We're not getting new cards, and it's like the slow slog of a season. Literally the longest season we've ever had between standard sets. And it's like they need something to draw attention to Magic, because even though Double Masters is a nice product, and it's not a standard set. We're not making new cards, and people in like formats like Standard and Pioneer are boring because of this huge gap we have between sets.
Yeah, hold up. This isn't literally the biggest gap we've had between standard sets. It's been what, 3 months? 6 months?
What is the biggest gap that
this is the biggest gap since I've started playing in the history of Modern, which started around when I started playing 4 sets. This is the biggest gap.
So that was my initial question is that I thought, this seemed like such a bad, like it seemed like this would be something that would be grounds for people to get fired over. So I wondered how much of it was intentional. But then what do we do with that information? Like we were discussing, like when this set comes out, and then to clarify, Johnny gets Phyrexianized. And Jaya Bellard is killed by Ajani. So that's going to set Chandra up on this huge arc. Like she's got revenge and, a mentor killed a mentor. That's going to be some big drama for her. But does that imply that Ajani gets Phyrexianized in the upcoming set? Because this book is supposed to be released in 6 months, from what I understand. It's supposed to be released in December. And that would imply that by the time Dominaria United comes out, right, that he would have to be Phyrexianized. Otherwise, it's like, do you think it would be smart to reveal before the set happens that a main, character, or at least a popular B character, is getting Phyrexianized?
I don't honestly think this was done on purpose. If nothing else, because Amazon has a history of not giving a flying poop.
You can say fuck, it's okay.
Amazon's give a shit
you said it.
about the content. They just grab a couple pages from every book and put it up. And if it spoils, sucks to be the author. Ha ha ha. Oh my God. So you mean to say Amazon doesn't care about authors and screws their work?
Oh, of course not.
Shocked and awed. So based on that, I don't think it's purposefully done. I guess it's just a couple pages and we got this. But I wouldn't be surprised if a journey is completed right here on Dominaria United.
Yeah, Shieldred's already spoiled the beat on Dominaria United. And it's as we're getting on our parade, it just seems like it's just going to happen on the plane, which is super exciting because we already knew we were getting more of these because they keyworded completed. So we knew we were getting more of the completed planeswalkers. Yep. Like there was no reason to make the word completed a keyword if they were going to do it once.
Exactly. And also, we've gotten on the past 3 big sets, we got a new Phyrexian Vorinclex, and then a new Phyrexian Urabrask, and then a new Phyrexian Jingitaxias. So, okay, it's the logic stands that one of the other 2 would show up on the next big set.
It's Shieldred. I mean, I would have told you from the first time we saw one of the paraders, the last one we're going to see is Elishnorn, the most popular, well-known, beloved one. Like she's going to show up last.
The big bad guy.
Cornish hens. She's got to come in like, and that's what I call her, Cornish hen, because that's all I can think of when Elishnorn, Cornish hen.
Elishnorn is a scary character. I mean,
he is. But
I've been talking about, like, I don't know. I hope Elspeth gets the kill still, because Elspeth killing Elishnorn is such a satisfying end to Elspeth's arc.
Yeah, it would be.
I mean, we've been
especially after Phyrexian and Ajani, right? Especially after Phyrexian and Ajani.
I mean, yeah, it's like super heartbreaking for Elishnorn. She probably won't be anywhere near Dominaria, so she won't know about this for a while.
Where is Elspeth right now?
Elspeth's on Capenna. That's where we last saw her.
She stayed in Capenna?
They've been summoned to Dominaria. Like, that's where everybody's heading.
Who's been summoned, though? I actually don't know who's been summoned. I'm assuming
Elspeth is on her way with Vivian Reed, and Teferi's waiting there. That apparently everybody's convening on Dominaria because they know what's happening. They know that there's a plan in place for the Phyrexians. So that's what that's where we were last left at the very end of the new Capenna storyline. And then of course we had the sub story, the B story where Ashiok comes in and does their thing.
Does a thing.
Did you read that yet, Joe?
I haven't read it yet.
Oh, you should.
I only got the TLDR.
So good. It's so good. It's really legit good.
The choice of words. Yeah, it's like when Phyrexian fear, that's when you know shit's going down.
Yeah.
And it finally gave because the Phyrexians were coming to the point where it's like, how do you stop them? They're unstoppable. Nobody can seem to win against them. They don't have any weakness. Oh, well, what if the weakness is they're afraid that they're going to start turning organic again? I mean, that could easily be what takes them down.
I just realized, based on that information, Phyrexians are scared of like having to take a shit or something.
They'd be terrified of it.
They'd be terrified of having to stop to take a shit.
Can you imagine like Elishnorn's walking and she's like, bow to the machine, orthodoxy. And then she gets like a rumble and she's like,
shit.
She's like, bow to the, oh dear. And she calls in her council, the squabbling delegates. What is happening inside my glistening oil?
And then someone shows up like, you're butt napkins, ma'am.
My liege, you have diarrhea. It is an organic affectation. And then that person gets beheaded because they dare use the word organic.
They were so...
This has such War of the Worlds vibes to me. the big unstoppable spoiler about a 60-year-old movie. The big unstoppable robots are gonna destroy the world. They have beaten all the armies in the world, and then it starts raining and they die to it.
Was that how it went down? Was it rain? Because what was the one? It wasn't
rain. Rain was in contato imediato terceiro grau. In English, it's a close contact of the third kind. On War of the Worlds, it was the common code. They got the common code, and they had no immune system against it, and they all died.
Oh man, that's a bummer. You know what?
After defeating the armies of the entire world,
they're like, yeah, the world's taken over, and they're like, oh no, we're going home. We're going home.
No, they died. They died.
They perished.
Well, you know who didn't die? The body snatchers. Now those things, they never gave up, and those movies, they end abysmally. Do you think that they'll do that with, like, do you think with magic, okay, how dark are they going to go before they stop? And is the completion going to be for good? That's my question. What do we think?
I don't really want that. I don't want that.
I mean,
that is the one thing that could restore my respect for MTG lore.
What meaning going completely dark, or what?
Having things having consequences. The first Dominaria, the lore for the first Dominaria was so bad, it made me stop caring for MTG lore. It made me put away all my books and all my comics and stop reading because.
And not the classical Dominaria, you mean like the 2018 set?
Yeah, I'm talking about the set called Dominaria. That was awful. Oh my god!
I never read that one. What was so bad about it?
Well, anything. Pick one.
Really?
No. Here's how bad it was. The author publicly apologized and explained. She asked they hired an author to write the lore for Dominaria, and she said, "Listen, I know there's 25 years of backstory here. There's no time for me to read all that. Is it okay if I write a story and you guys look it over and we fix any differences?" And you're like, "Oh yeah, that's why we hired you. We know there's no time to read the entire backstory. Just do your best, and don't worry, we'll review and edit and make sure it fits with the current storyline." So she wrote a story which contradicts the backstory many times.
Oh, that's so,
and the genius who was responsible for lore at time, he decided when she asked for him to review it, he just went, "Oh, no, it's fine.
Carry on. A pat in the head and off you go."
Is this our friend that we know and talk about quite often here? Is that the same person? The Knights of Neek?
Yep. That asshole.
The forbidden one.
We shall dare not speak his name. You know,
if this was my channel, I'll be talking much less friendly about him, but I'm pretty sure he won't sue me because I'm willing to bet money. He doesn't speak Portuguese. I'm not going to give you the opportunity to find that out.
Oh, well, I don't know if you can sue for
slander is a thing.
Well, then I guess that he should not have said those mean things he said about me before, which I'm sure are out there. And frankly, I don't think it's very nice. So, and by the way, he also told me he was my best friend and lied about that. So I should be able to slander him because I just want to get revenge. I have no idea what I'm talking about. Look, I'm not slandering him, but I am saying this. I'm saying that the choices that were made were very questionable to the game, and it seems like there was a lot of rectification that happened post him leaving. I was supposed to interview him a week before he got before it all went down, like a week.
The can, as the kids say.
Yes, the can. I think they parted ways like the Red Sea or an old married couple.
Is that a good way to say like it wasn't in friendly terms or something? They parted away like the
it was
Red Sea.
Wizards gently fired him and said,
I gotta be completely honest. I'm sorry if I take the conversation, but I gotta be completely honest. I really want my Ajani and my Tameo back, but Elba's unfortunately right, because I think there's this thing of like, it used to be like a rite of passage for people who read comics to like, oh, you just stop reading them, and eventually that hero that sacrificed himself years ago came back as a clone or some bullshit thing. And so it's like, oh, it's just like stories weaving, nothing has meaning, whatever, stories by.
Exactly.
And I gotta be honest, that's the thing is like, I want my favorite characters back, but I also want Magic to like really be that like fucking story beat as he was in the Weatherlight Saga.
I mean, I would bet anything that they're not going to die. I mean, they're going to be able to convert them back. I would put money on it.
Or apologize, but what we could do, because like imagine the Phyrexians being gone, we only have the slivers to be the big villains. What if they kind of took over as the new villains or something? They just got away and become the new Phyrexian shit.
Something could go wrong with the slivers real quick. Phyrexian slivers, now that's a problem.
Yeah,
That's a problem. And
that's called Tyranids. That's called Tyranids. We're gonna have that on Commander's Head in October.
Wait, what was that?
You're right, actually. What if they were like Tyranid slivers or something like that? It's like, oh shit.
I thought you said something about AIDS. I was like,
oh no.
No. Tyranids. Tyranids is a race of Phyrexianized slivers from Warhammer 40k.
ooh, what would be a good name for a Phyrexianized sliver? Glistening sliver. Nailed it.
Yep.
Nailed it.
That'll be a good.
There we go.
That was it.
It just sounds like a real card.
Well, that's
It does sound like a real card. Yeah, that's why it's so good. But it's not a real
the
card.
point of it. I'd be like, for it to call
But-
it like,
Before Elspeth, that was the one thing that made Magic lore different from all other pop culture IPs. Before Elspeth came back in Magic, if you were dead, you were dead. That was that. There's no coming back. There's no.
well, I mean, Gideon's not back yet. I mean, here, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like
He is on Elysium though. They haven't really referenced.
he's
There's who?
on, but that means he's in the heaven thing, right? The
Yeah,
heaven.
but he is there, and he does exist as some form of Gideon still.
Well, why do you guys call your show the Nitpicking Nerds? I'm not sure why you would use the word nitpicking. I feel like that he's dead. He's living in the sweet Elysium or whatever they call it. Yeah,
I gotta agree with Joe here.
Things
You know
don't
who's
die.
dead? You know who's real dead? Gerhard Capashen is dead. You haven't heard of him for the past 20 years.
There's Urza's
That
dead.
is the doornail.
Urza's
Urza's dead.
but Urza wasn't going to get into Sweet Elysium because he was a bad boy.
Okay, what about Gerhard? What about
I think
Sazai?
the
What
one
about-
plane that I think that for death, the only that what's the freaking plane that Theros, one we're referencing, is it's a plane where people don't die in a usual way,
Yeah, they have
Yep.
the underworld basically, and
and they have a heaven, which is
and
Elysium.
Valhalla. Well, Kaldheim has a Valhalla, right? Like,
Mhm.
yeah. See, I'm going to get to the bottom of this. I brought some research. Whoops, I can't.
Oops.
Won't focus.
It's censored. We don't have the rights to
Nice.
share it. Oh no,
It's-
never mind.
huh? It's censored. Yes.
It's
But-
censored.
I swear that like
Open the holy book.
if
Open the
they
holy book.
didn't have it, I just don't think they had the foresight to have that like that safety net back
No.
then. Like they just didn't have it, because if they did, they probably would have done a backup plan. Because let me ask you something: would you love to see Gerard come back? Would you be happy?
No.
You wouldn't.
No, it would absolutely cheapen the entire gut punch that was Apocalypse.
So
There's a
then-
set called Apocalypse. In the set called Apocalypse, all your heroes die, and that's it.
So you would be, it would just offend you to no end. But so then I guess the prequel is a happy medium for you. Because if we can go back in time and follow, like do extended stories, or is that a problem too for you too?
Well, here's the thing. After Dominaria in 2018, you asked what's so bad about Dominaria. You know the character Danitha Capashen in Dominaria?
Yeah, I mean, I know her card. I don't know anything about
Yeah,
it.
of course. But so you know everything about her, right? You know her card because she's a Capashen, and the entire thing about Gerhard Capashen is how he was the last heir, the sole heir to the vast Capashen fortune, and how Urza spent 3,000 years making sure he was the perfect soldier and the sole heir, so he would be allowed to spend as much time and money as he wanted on his plan to stop Yawgmoth. So if he was the sole heir who turned his back on family, how in the name of fuck is there underneath a Capashen?
They did it in the Skywalker thing. They did it in the last Star Wars movie, so I guess they're gonna do it on Magic. Where that
Yeah, right. So
That's a good question. I mean,
after Dominaria, I'm flat out scared of what Brothers were gonna be, because don't get me wrong, Brothers War could use a rewrite. Okay, Brothers War definitely could use a rewrite. If you read the book, it has 90 sensibilities all over it, like how Urza is rewarded. Ashnod
just being Ashnod
is sex and dominatrix. I have the sex. That's Ashnod.
Did she say that? Did she say I have the sex? Please tell me.
No, but that's the character is how sexy she is. That's the whole thing. And Urza being rewarded, and his reward for saving the country is that he's given the hand of the town leader's daughter, who's never seen him before.
And then he's a shitty husband after that
too. He didn't even save the thing. It was literally like wasn't that like he carried it like a boulder? Like he made a robot that carried a boulder or something? Wasn't that the challenge? I think that was the challenge.
I'm oversimplifying. He did the thing, and now the
got the girl.
Daughter loves her. Loves him.
He got the girl.
Loves him
unconditionally. To the girl.
He's what?
Like in the story, he's a shit husband too.
Yeah, no, and a shit father and a shit everything. He's a shit human being.
I'm actually like I'm always like I think I'm like 90% through the first book, and like I just recall like I believe as soon as it was like okay he got married. What are you guys gonna do in the first night? He literally got the tome that was like part of the treasure and started reading. That's it.
So yeah, that's part of the storyline could bear being rewritten. Okay. I trust Jay. You know, the lore right now is in much better hands than it was. I cannot overstate how better Jay's hands are than where it was in 2018.
Jay he's really been something to behold. Because when I first interviewed him, it was 2 books ago, and he was hoping for the job like at Magic, and then he got it, and then he was it's great to see him like actually if the official. Like
I saw a tweet from him from 2017 in which he fan theorizes what in the visual guide has been spoiled, the identity of the Raven Man.
He got it right, or at least from what I read.
Come on, buddy. Put 2 and 2 together. In 2017, that was his fan theory. Now he is the person responsible for writing the theory. He just canonized his own fan theory. And he did it very well.
Ain't that the best nerd thing ever? And like that's exactly. The dream nerd. That's the dream nerd.
Exactly. And the thing is, he did it very well. He did it in a way that it doesn't seem shoehorned. It's not like we don't even Chandra's giving up being gay.
Well, we don't know that yet. We can't say he didn't shoehorn in Lindell. Maybe he didn't, but it's like we don't have the story yet. All we know is Lindell's the Raven Man. That's like only information.
Oh, okay. But here's the thing: if you go back to his tweets from 2017, where he goes deeper on why he thinks Lindu is the Raven Man, it makes perfect sense. He's got all the hooks are covered, all the angles are covered, and since now he's the one responsible for writing the story, what are the chances that the official story is going to be any worse than his fan theory?
Well,
at least that, right?
Here's the thing too, when it's kind of a bummer is like now that he's officially a Wizards of the Coast employee, like there's red tape that I have to go through to get an interview with him. Because before when you're a freelancer, they can just do the interview. But if you're with Wizards, I have to submit my questions beforehand, and there's a process. So my question though, except for Limdol, I started playing 2019. I don't really know his significance. What is this guy's significance? That
you can watch the 1994 commercial. That's all you need to know.
Lindu was the big bad between Yawgmoth and Vorath, because the very first Phyrexians weren't even a big thing. Okay, Phyrexians just did a special appearance in Antiquities, and it was kind of like machine hell.
Yeah, they were
very
like
nondescript. Yeah. It's like Phyrex is a bad thing, but we're not going too deeply into this. And then there's the Brothers' War and the big boom that Urza made to finish the Brothers' War, and that began the Ice Age. And then Lindu they thought he was the big bad of Ice Age. Turns out it was actually Lashrock, who was the planeswalker who was controlling Lindu. Lindu, the Necromancer, is the one who started war against Balduvia and Kjeld and the other faction, which name escapes me right now.
It's something else.
And for failing to defeat the 3 nations, Lashrock took away his body, and he became kind of like what's the Full Metal Alchemist brother's name? Arthur, the big armor kid.
It's
Oh,
Alphonse and Eric.
There we go.
No, sorry, Alphonse Eric actually, isn't it?
Alphonse is the big armor that doesn't have a body.
Well,
I think so. I think it's Alphonse.
Leshrac, being an old walker, and as old walkers being near omnipotent, he took away Lindu's body, and then he put his essence on a ring which he'd wear. Then Leshrac was beaten, and that ring took over, I want to say, Joda, and he managed to get rid of it. So Lindu was never killed off. He was an evil essence, which was always looking for a body.
He became the equivalent of Sauron for Lord of the Rings, basically.
Yeah, kind of like Sauron.
And
Very much like Sauron.
And he just was such a massive dick to poor Liliana. I mean, like, he's like, boys, like, she's gonna poison her, like, get her to poison
his
her
brother thing. His brother. Now, actually, kind of makes sense because, like, the brother turned into a zombie. Actually, huh? Well, it's coming. It's coming along. It's coming along. It's coming. Yeah. It's yeah.
But he died though. She killed him.
No, he's dead. He's dead. Yeah, no, he's dead. But I mean, like, he turned into a zombie.
A leash. He could talk.
So yeah, Lindu was a big bad. Back.
Oh, now it's back up.
Oh,
Welcome to sunny Florida.
Hello.
Sorry about that thunderstorm. That was a. I apologize for that.
A small
It should be
blink.
okay. So, hopefully,
No, it's your fault. It's raining. You personally.
you know,
me?
I've had a lot of people say a lot of fucked up shit to me in my time, Elba, but that takes the cake. And I'm gonna expect a written apology and a check for damages, for emotional damages, because I am damaged emotionally from this and other things, but mostly you.
Oh shit, he's getting the magic cards.
What's he doing?
What's up?
He's getting the dual lands. Is
He's got dual lands.
that an actual check?
I bought this dual land.
What dual land is that? Oh,
Here, written apology for you.
I'm so
I'm sorry. I want that framed. Send that from down under, where you guys are right now, where it's winter, where that blows my mind. It's winter in Brazil.
I'm sorry. Oh shit.
It's winter.
Hemispheres blow your mind.
What?
Hemispheres blow your mind.
Yeah.
I told Alper's like it's south in Brazil. It's winter in Brazil. It's like what
There's
the
not
fuck?
that many
What the
places-
fuck?
Look, there's not that many places where it's winter right now, Joe.
It's like half the world.
Yeah, well,
Literally half. Yeah, half the
The
world.
northern part has got a more land overall.
I'm just saying, like,
No, that's not Russia's fault.
there's more going on up north. We all know that. There's more happenings.
Yeah, even though technically north is the bottom side of the earth, and we people who have associated up with being better, so we flipped it on old maps.
Oh, no.
It's literally true.
Really?
How the hell is north the bottom side?
But the earth is just technically the other way around, and it's people just view it as like because they want themselves to be up top.
There's no up or down.
Ball,
There's,
right?
you're right. You'd have to read more about it because I'm not expert, but I remember watching a video about this a while back, and I thought it was hilarious.
Was it Bill Nye the Science Guy?
It sounds
No.
hilarious. I will read up on this. And Alper, just real quick, are we recording?
We are recording, yes.
Okay, good. Just because it said recording has stopped and it never said.
Yeah, and then
it
actually the sound came back up when he logged in. But
okay, good.
To be completely honest, I have no idea how the recording is gonna be. But let's just trust that Zoom
It'll
is
be
a
separated into two files. We'll
Okay.
make it connect. Like all we have to do is just I have a little like fibble thip insert that says like technical difficulties, and he's like, he's
Technical
perfect for
difficulties.
everything.
Talking about technical difficulties. Sorry, carry on.
Oh no, I was gonna say I wanted to know if everybody had a planeswalker that they think would be the most dangerous planeswalker to be completed. Who is the most dangerous?
This theory, Elba told me like some episodes ago when he was in not Tezzeret, guy that fuck
Valley?
Tezzeret. No. I forgot his name. What? Teferi is just
Teferi's powers don't do anything except for when they need to, because his powers suck. canonically, he should be able to do anything and stop anybody because time powers are ridiculous. But like in the War of the Spark book, he basically just slows time a couple times around.
But Joe, the video game rule.
What if the Spark is not a real book? Come on. What if the Spark is the
Because,
book
like,
equivalent
well,
to
because, like,
going to
Teferi
a
on the
fancy
console-
restaurant and ordering dino nuggies?
It's a fever dream.
in
Fever
like
dream.
because on the cards, like the card Time Wipe, it's like now that's a powerful like he's like the flavor text says he explains it as
He wasn't even
essentially
born
they
or
were
something.
never
Yeah,
born.
they were never
It was like
born.
now, yeah, how could anyone ever defeat that kind of power?
The video game rule clearly states if a bad guy turns bad, he's getting 700% more powerful, and if a bad guy turns good, he's 30% weaker.
That's true.
It's
It's
math.
law.
It's basic math.
So Teferi is your choice then? too?
Teferi is clearly my choice. 200%.
Clearly, it's clearly your choice because you
It's-
stole it from Elba. Is that
No. Elba opened my mind towards that decision.
He opened.
I was inspired.
If you open your mind too much, your brain might fall out.
I believe.
My
it.
guess, however, would be Karn.
Ooh.
Ooh.
I don't know. Karn was fractionized and he sat there like this.
Oh,
grumpy in a
well,
chair.
yeah, but that's the entire reason why we're fighting for Rex right now.
Yeah, he had to have a surgery. He had to get a Phyrexian a Phyrexian
Rexonectomy.
Karn's one of the planeswalkers that if we had to bet if they'd be completed or not, I'd give you 100-1 odds and take he's not getting completed.
Well, I don't think he's getting completed, but I'm just saying the question is like hypothetical, who's the most dangerous one? If they,
I don't think Karn's very dangerous. We don't really explore Karn's powers too much.
well,
So I don't even know. I don't know what Karn could even do.
The
Okay,
video game rule clearly states if he was holding back.
Well,
and
yeah,
now
but if he's good
dangerous-
at building robots, then he's 70% better at building robots. Doesn't seem
but
that scary.
Joe, the question is, which one do you think is dangerous? Not which all of the ones that you don't think is dangerous.
Probably Soren. Soren's
I was gonna say-
one
I
of
mean,
the most
isn't he a
powerful
wall
planeswalkers
ornament?
we have.
talking about
I
edgy.
would be. Could he make a Phyrexian angel? Or is that pre-mending only?
No,
I
that's
never-
not premeditated. The Phyrexian Angel was made by the Praetors.
But I mean, no, I know Traxa, but which
Was Avison made pre-mending? I don't know.
I think she was.
I think she
is.
was.
Yeah, because I don't think Soren could. Because he would. Don't you think he would have just created a fresh Avison after they started going mad? I mean,
Yeah.
Like,
Question. He had the power to create an angel before the minute, but then after the minute, he just destroyed it. That was pretty.
Before,
was good,
before
like,
mending,
beyond.
all the planeswalkers had the power to do whatever the fuck they wanted.
Mhm. And Soren sort of scraped the bottom of a shoe.
Maybe he just I had that in the conscious, I created you, but I can just and you're gone back to those powers or something.
I believe I read that Soren had an orgasm on a sock and then took the remnants from the sock and brought them into the Holy Church. And from the sock rose Avison. And then Avison was good.
I have a better idea.
That's the War of the Spark book, right? Wouldn't surprise me at all.
That's the.
Well, yes, actually that was, but they told me that was actually not good enough to make it in, and I was kind of upset. I was like,
that was your application for the War of the Spark
Here's my pitch, you guys. Okay,
Here's my pitch.
Soren he lets off a big one. Okay, yeah, he's got to clean up, right? We all know that's the got
It
to.
was all that.
Got to clean it up. He grabs a sock and then makes an angel from it, and this angel saves Innistrad. What do you mean? I'm fired.
I wasn't even hurried. What do you mean?
What do you mean? No, I don't need to be assisted out of the building. Thank you.
I can jump off of the thing.
I think that I guess the most dangerous one for me would be obviously Minx and Boo.
Space
I don't know.
hamsters.
Are they canonically planeswalkers? Because I don't think they are.
Alper, let's.
It took me a hot second to remember who the fuck are these guys.
To be honest, Alper, you take Mix and Brew seriously because it seems you just don't.
I take Minx and Boo seriously?
Yeah, because
Of course I do. He throws his hamster at people. How can I not take him seriously?
It's Baldur's Gate, man. It's D&D in the 90s.
I'm just saying I mean I've heard of guys who walk around with hamsters, but
Okay,
they don't throw them at people.
Let me wink some.
Don't show your hamster at people, and don't cluster your hamster.
I just
Not in
think
public.
Winx is-
Not in
I
public,
just-
at least.
I just think Boo and Lemmy Winks have a lot to talk about. That's all I'm saying.
Oh Christ.
Lemmy Winks, and Boo. Actually, I don't know. My most dangerous one, that'd be tough. I'd have to think about that because you guys gave some good answers, and I wanted to say Soren, but I can't. I don't want to be like the samesies. So, let's just go with
The next one on your list may be Liliana, if I know your opinion.
Liliana would be dangerous, but it would be for me. That would just be more devastating than anything. Like
Fair.
I think Liliana would be like, oh, so there's another. So there's a big Phyrexian that can raise the dead. Oh boy, we have never seen that before, huh? What about when I think of Phyrexian, it would be an incredible power if they could raise the dead.
yeah,
You know what I'm
If they did
thinking?
that-
You know what I'm thinking? Phyrexionized chain veil. I want that chain veil with spikes.
Well, the chain veil can't be Phyrexianized because it's totally chains.
Are you sure?
Also, wasn't it destroyed? I don't actually know. I thought
No one knows, man. Magical
There has
lore,
to
am I
be-
right?
it was certainly destroyed in the Art of a Magic card.
There has to be some level of organic, it has to be based somewhat in organic life for it to be Phyrexianized, which is ironic, right?
Man did with Liliana's face.
That's
So
not
she becomes
true,
a horrible
because the
monster.
planet. Because
That's a cool
the
monster
planet-
design. That's a cool monster
whole
design. I
planet
want
wasn't-
that commission right now. I want that commission. An open one.
like Mirrodin wasn't a living necessarily alive. It was fractionized.
Mirrodin
Who?
was not. Mirrodin had life on it.
It
It had life on it, but the
No, it didn't. No, it didn't.
Originally,
Karn,
it-
Mirari.
Oh no, it wasn't. No, you're right. You're right. Yeah,
Yeah,
Denmark.
but the
Yeah,
Denmark was artificial life made by Karn. It was
You're
machine.
right.
Well, but
You're
that's-
right. You're right.
But there still is. There has to be something. There has to be some sort of life.
but the planet itself is fractionized now, which is weird.
Well,
And it's not. And the planet is inorganic.
they've turned it into like a Dante's Inferno. Like there's levels of.
It
hell.
literally has
Correction.
9 layers. It
Correction.
literally has 9 layers.
Well, it's literally like a computer. It's literally like a computer program because it's weird because the way the Praetors work is on Phyrexia is that they can, if say Vorinclex dies, and the new Phyrexia as a computer program, for lack of a better word,
It poops
knows
anew.
that it'll make a new green Praetor. It won't be Vorinclex, but there'll be a new green Praetor.
Yeah.
Like it just makes a new one because it's literally like living code.
I'm wondering if they're going to bring Glissa back in some way,
Ooh.
shape, or form. Now,
Ooh.
and I'm
I mean,
not saying like
she's alive.
No, I know that, but I'm saying like I would like to see her get either treatment, and I'd like to see more of a story from her, or at the very least, I'm sorry, I'm gonna say it. I will accept one uncompleted person, and that would be Glissa because she deserves it. Justice for Glissa.
No. See, you can't have one because
Yes,
one
I
means
can. Yes, I
if-
can.
no, you can't because if one is uncompleted, then there's everyone's uncompleted.
Just hey, just
You're
say
not the boss of me.
just say we have to sacrifice Karn because he still has the legacy bullshit with him, and that's it. He can save only one.
I'm sorry.
That's
the,
it.
The most heartbreaking story in Magic to me of all time is Glissa. Glissa did everything right. Not even like the slightest bit of mercy.
It's the definition of a no good deed goes
Like it was nihilism. Like she did everything right. Her friends were killed. Her family was killed. She was killed. And then she's completed. And then now she is the thing that is destroying the very people that she was trying to protect.
It's so
is
tragic.
So dark.
It's tragic.
It's so dark.
It's like the return of Belby. Belby was the exact same thing. She was the daughter of Eladamri, the Lord of the Leaves,
But was
and she was completed to spite him.
But there was so much. I mean, I guess just the books, the amount of time that was devoted to her story. Like she was a main character.
Agreed. Yeah, this was the main character of the book.
And it really was just like, and then they didn't. And then after that happened, it was almost like she was an afterthought. They talk about her being, the real brains behind Vorinclex, right? Like she's actually the one pulling the strings, and so. I just feel like at the very least, give her, if you're gonna rob me of that, that great character and just bash my heart in through my asshole, at least give me a good villain out of this. Don't just like do this to her and then have her be an afterthought. because that's where I think maybe I'm offended, because you should give her power to be evil after going through that.
Now imagine if on 2 sets from now she shows up and she's uncompleted, and they just never mention it. There's no explanation on what happened and why she's uncompleted, and she just is. How would that make you feel?
Mm-mm.
That's pretty much how I felt about Multani in Dominaria. So yeah,
I would be so fucking mad.
Yeah,
I would be so fucking mad.
That's
I'm mad
Multani
now
for you.
Thinking about it, that pissed me off. Like just thinking about it.
Just thinking about the possibility of the existence of the
That
hypothesis.
might make me angrier than blood petals,
Oh shit.
and blood petals make me angry.
Oh yeah.
Yep, I'm aware.
Okay.
You guys want to speculate a little bit more?
Now you understand why I say, you know what? If they dead, they dead. Keep them dead. It's better.
But see, I'm fine. Okay, her being dead is one thing. Like, okay, I've accepted it. I've moved on. She's not coming back. At least that's what I've come to believe that. But I do think she deserves to have some sort of, like, I want to see her in the story more. I want to see her doing awful things. I want to hate her, so it helps me feel better about loving her.
She still needs to matter as a character. She doesn't need to the opposite of the opposite
like Ertai.
of love, right?
Like exactly what they did with Ertai. That is good. Ertai was a main character, and he died, and then he was Phyrexianized, and he was. Ertai and Krovex were bad guys. They became real bad.
Now, Krovex, I know about. Now, were all three of them? Because I haven't read the books, but were these like the lead characters of the books, like of the protagonists?
Krovex wasn't, but Ertai was Jace back in the 90s. He was the spunky blue mage who
kind of
overestimated. And kind of exactly. He was kind of hot, and he thought he was the hottest shit ever. And he did all the smart quips, and he didn't respect nobody. And then he got kidnapped and completed, and became one of the most hated adversaries.
That's
he basically was like basically like a Red Hood, right? He was like, oh, it's a cool Robin, kind of annoying. Oh shit, what happened to him? Oh Christ.
There is nothing better than a decent looking guy who's rude to everybody. Like that's marriage material right there. What's it? I don't know who's like this. I don't know his name, but the one guy who does the like role playing on the big famous role playing channel, and he just sort of has that smarmy attitude. I don't know his name.
Dude, I don't even like to watch role playing games, and I think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, he's got a very like.
I have no clue who you're talking about. This is
Matthew Mercer?
I don't want to say their name because
shit.
I don't know who you're talking about.
I was trying to find out, so maybe it's not for plausible deniability. I'm just pondering because I have no idea who you're talking about. Seriously.
Like I just see that scene in American Psycho when he's having sex and he's looking in the mirror and he just is impressed with himself. Like this is the thing again. Now I could be reading it wrong, but I
just mixed in my mind American Psycho and Psycho, and I was aghast thinking, what scene is that?
You're like, I don't remember the scene where he was doing it with his mom.
Yeah, that thing in the shower. That thing in the shower, right?
So bad. Oh man. Okay. Well, all right. So, what was the thing you were hypothesizing, Alison? You had an hypothesis.
Yeah. I wanted to speculate in a book just because I was little the very small details around that, got the pages and all that, and then I stumbled upon Liliana's page, right? And then it has like that key data thing, which is basically like when I was younger, I really liked that, but nowadays it's like that's not really useful. It's like, oh, species, human, status, planeswalker, signature, magic, necromancer, whatever, blah, 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 age, da, 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 da. And then it has foes, right? Upon foes, we have Nicobolas, that makes sense. Tezzeret, that makes sense. Garruk, well, they have a fight back then, but maybe now they're friends. And last but not least, New Phyrexia. I don't recall Liliana fighting the Phyrexians directly.
Well, this is just Dominaria storyline. This is what we're getting to.
No, I know, but like because like the Chandra feels like kind of cheap motivations, like, oh, turn in Phyrexian, kill the mentor. Okay, I hate Phyrexians now. Liliana is just like, hey, I'm badass. I'm gonna kill some Phyrexians.
No, okay.
But if you show, we don't know.
Confused. I'm just confused. Like
we're coming to a head, and Dominaria is like going to be the start of like. Everyone's going to know. So if everyone's convening there, I'd assume every Gatewatch member would be there, including Liliana, Jace, all the major ones. Mm-hmm. So whatever happens here, she's going to be there and probably witness someone like a Johnny, who is also part of the Gatewatch, being turned. And it's just going to, this is the start of like this is the like huge plot. Like, yeah, we've had little bits here and there, but this is like, okay, here we go. Phyrexian storyline, like from Dominaria out, I believe.
You guys want to hear the key things for Nicol Bolas? One of mine is favorite. Okay, so status, Planeswalker. Species
not anymore. So.
Signature magic. Bolas has forgotten more magic than any other being will ever learn. His age is over 25,000 years old. He was born on Dominaria. His base is the prison realm, formerly the meditation realm. Hair, none. I love it. Hair, none. I'm like, that's interesting.
Hair?
Why the hair?
Well, because they do hair color for all of the humans, but they're not, obviously Bolas does not have hair because he's a dragon and lizard-like.
Yeah, and then his foes are the Gatewatch and Ugin. That's it.
Well, that's right.
What do you mean? He hates
such disrespect.
He hates lots of people.
Such disrespect.
That's all it says.
Exactly.
Nicol Bolas hates a lot more people than that. He hated the Black Myojin, Umezawa. There was a lot of.
They forgot Umezawa.
The Black Myojin. Oh, he hated the Black Myojin.
They ignored Umezawa completely.
They forgot Umezawa.
Not according to this.
Well, he said Umezawa was a big thorn in Bolas's side.
Yeah,
for a long time.
Umezawa is the reason why Bolas never fought Urza.
And also, Bolas was pissed. Bolas was so pissed at whoever sent Umezawa that he vowed that he'd kill them, and he killed the Black Myojin because of that. He went and eventually killed the Black Myojin.
Well, all I'm saying is that Ugin and the Gatewatch are they're the things that really piss him off. That's what's happening here.
I mean,
could it be that the foes there are living foes?
Ooh.
That'll explain it, because
I think don't you have to be alive to be someone's foe? Like anyway?
Yeah, I guess, because that'll explain. Umezawa, the beef between Umezawa and Nicol Bolas was like 10,000 years ago.
Can you imagine if like somebody came there like, oh, I'm gonna have to see my arch enemy today. I can't stand it. And then people are like, well, what do you mean you have to see them? It's like, oh yes, I'm going to their grave. Oh, I hate them. It'd be like,
just like piss on his grave, and that's it. That's the brutal combat.
Like, you call this your foe? And can you imagine somebody standing where graves and they're like, damn you, and it's like, oh wow, somebody's off their meds.
I could imagine someone bringing a radio to the graveyard just to do the cha-cha-cha over their foe's grave.
Oh God, that would take some huevos más grandes, because I literally one time, I went to a graveyard to do photography. I had 35 millimeter, and I was walking by, and then I looked down, and it was this like 3-year-old's like grave, and there were little Spider-Man dolls that had been laid there like each year.
Yeah.
Like, and they were like, and the groundskeeper didn't move them. And like in the mid, I just started sobbing. Like I was just like it was so painful. So I learned my lesson. I was like, yeah, no, that kind of thing happens. So if somebody was cha-chaing, although I guess I could tell a dark story. No, I can't tell the story.
Oh, no.
I can't tell the story, but I do know of a person who actually did a little bit of a striptease at a cemetery in college. We were not happy about that, but they were not in their wits. They were not.
College.
Okay, that's much less bad.
It was
okay then.
It was terrifying, because I said, they're coming to get you, Barbara, and then we realized we were scared and we all ran away. But yep. You ever see that movie, Return of the Living Dead? where they
Yep.
are in the graveyard. And yeah, that literally actually is like that could have been a scene from my life. That's so yeah, there you go. Healthy moments. Okay. So any other things that we would like to bring up before we close out? Because I feel like we've touched on some good stuff. But I wanted to know if anybody had any last thoughts or maybe a Jerry Springer, final thoughts moment where we talk about, talked about a lot today. Phyrexians, dancing in cemeteries, Picklebolus' hair.
Do you know the name? Do you know the name of the set that's coming after Brothers War?
I don't think it's been released yet.
Do we have it? I don't know if we have it yet.
I think it's still going by its nickname. It's still going by its like code name.
Yeah.
Is it?
I believe so. I don't think it is. I think it's still under Nada.
Under what?
Oh,
Yep, unrevealed. It is unrevealed, codename Lacrosse.
Cross.
Okay.
And Innistrad too.
I mean, as much as I would love to see Innistrad have them fix what they did with Innistrad. I know that Innistrad's not coming for a while, but man, that was rough.
Oh, here's something interesting.
Hmm?
I don't know what this is, so we can speculate for 1 second. We're getting I'm just looking at the sets and we're getting like nicknames, golf and clubs went together, obviously. Hockey, ice skating, judo, kayaking, and then so lacrosse is coming. And then after that, there's marathon. But it says after marathon in April 2023 also is marathon epilogue. So I don't know what that is. And I think that's interesting.
Marathon would imply that it's everything together, right?
Well, the names of all these are just their names of sport things.
Yeah, there's colder. They're just
and it just goes in alphabetical order for the most part. It's like fence, like it goes A, B, C, D, E, F, and so marathon's just M. But marathon epilogue implies something else, which I don't know what it is.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
I'm hoping,
and I do think
I'm really hoping that they will return to the block structure.
It sounds like they are.
Right? Because they did two Innistrad.
I don't know. To be fair, I think Innistrad's double set was butts, and they should have done one set because they didn't cover.
That's okay. First of all, that's not fair because what they did was Innistrad. If they had kept Innistrad as a actual unified story instead of trying to make it like the werewolf and vampire set, I think that's where it was just disconnected because there were barely any werewolves or barely any vampires in Midnight Hunt. There were barely any werewolves in Crimson Vow. And in making this making it this, crappy Twilight shit, that was the mistake.
Just so you know, after we're done here, I'm going to record an entire video on how Mark Rosewater felt the players were misled because somehow the players got the impression that the set originally called Innistrad Werewolves was going to be about werewolves, and they were a little bit disappointed.
Yeah, no, he felt he felt that they didn't market a double feature correctly when they lied.
Well, they did. Yeah. They actively lied about double features.
Exactly. So yeah.
It wasn't just like little. It was no, they just lied.
Outright lied. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They're like, we're sorry. I guess. Okay. What we meant was by brand new artwork, we meant reprinted, already published artwork. And by cinematic treatment, we meant grayscale.
Yep.
But there will be a draft experience. And by draft experience, we mean just them together.
But you forgot a word that they used. They used cultivated.
Cultivated.
And they did not cultivate it at all.
They just
they put every card, including doubling up on cards that were in both sets.
Oh, there's going to be a ton of evolving wilds out there. There's so many evolving wilds. Can you imagine drafting 9 evolving wilds?
You're going to play 6 colors.
And in the amount of fighting that would happen over, because you can't tell what any card is by looking at it.
I'm reading this off of Maro's Wizards article. Players felt we misled the audience on what the contents were going to be, and were upset that it wasn't a crafted draft experience rather than just the two sets thrown together. Now, why would the players think such a thing?
Because you said it. Because it was
Because
said by Wizards staff.
You told
Yep.
a stinky fib. Hey
Guys, I was looking at the Amazon page to see if there was any other spoilers we could comment on, and I just realized maybe my connection is better or something, but did they remove the
They did.
spoily
Yes,
pages
they
from
did.
Amazon?
Yes, they did. And that's another thing that I'm glad. Thank you for bringing that up. I meant to say that, but then I got distracted by everybody's brilliance. They took down all of the offending pages and replaced them like hastily with like double Amonkhet, double New Capenna, and there's nothing of note on any of
Oh,
those.
boy.
So what pages did they take down?
Okay, so like you know how on the Amazon
The one
page,
about Chandra and the one about Liliana.
Phyrexian, if I'm not mistaken.
the Phyrexian hells, the
Now
Hell
for
Rings,
yeah.
on the Amazon page, they took down all of the images that had
Oh,
the
that
spoilers, and they just put repeat images of like there's
Uh-huh.
like 3 of the Amonkhet page that are the same, 3 of the New Capenna, and then there's they I mean, if this was a calculated move, my hat's off, because they're really making it look like somebody shat the bed, or like, I mean, you'd think that like they'd call it Bezos and be like, listen, you goofy egg-headed bastard, just don't be a dick, and he'd be like, my yacht can't go anywhere because it's so big. I built it so big that they I have to destroy property, but they wouldn't let me. I'm Jeff Bezos. And then yeah. So I don't know.
Well, yeah. Magic spoilers, right? We love Magic. We sometimes hate Wizards, and every single time it works, they keep us getting our money. So
Oh yeah, no, I will. I mean, look, when all is said and done, I am going to be buying it. Like I will never. I'm not one of those people that's like, I'm done with the game. I'm done with it. This is the last straw. I'm like, no, it's not. It's not the last straw. They could literally just come over, knock on my door, and say, I'm going to take a shit on you now. And I'd be like, oh, how dare you? And then I would buy the next set.
It just takes much work. Like the game can't be ruined for me, but it's first thing, it has to happen on the card game level. I don't give like they're not gonna get me out of the game for the story. Like even if they write ass story for the next 20 years, I'll be fine as long as the card game is fine. The card game has to fall apart for me to like have a problem, which they could do. I mean, if they released
They're working hard on that.
I mean, if
they're working real hard on that.
But it feels like they've reached a point where it's like if every set was like this, it would be bad, but they never kept doing that, because like if every set was Throne of Eldraine, it's like then yeah, that would suck.
Throne of Eldraine was the lesson learned, and Innistrad paid the price for Throne of Eldraine. Innistrad was neutered because like Throne of Eldraine came and was just like
What's lame about Throne of Eldraine is it's a what was it, top-down design, so it was actually a cool design, but then for some reason they just they didn't have to.
if every single set was Throne of Eldraine, we'll be playing Yu-Gi-Oh.
I mean, it was
Sorry to be the voice of dissent, but I think Eldraine is pretty cool.
Eldraine.
No, don't get me wrong. It's amazing.
No, Eldraine is really cool. There's not, so the problem with Eldraine doesn't lie within flavor. It doesn't lie within design.
Yeah.
It lies within really shows you their, what was it, fire design that didn't work at all. Where it's like they're gonna just make things as cool and as strong as possible and then ban them if they need to. And that design didn't work.
My big example of fire design burning down your house is Modern Horizons 2.
You think? But what about Oko?
But Modern Horizons 2, that's
I'm a legacy player.
That's the same time frame. Oko's also part of the fire design.
I get Elvis. Like the thing is, like I think Elvis trying to say is like the main issue with Throne of Eldraine was like Oko. The issue with Modern Horizons, like, it was not one B card. It was like 100 small
But
cards.
Throne of Eldraine wasn't just Oko though.
I mean, there was
Throne of Eldraine was Oko. Once upon a time was also a huge issue, like gigantic issue. Cards that absolutely dominated Standard. It also had
Questing
Fires
Beast.
banned out. Questing Beast never got banned out, but it was dominated in Standard the whole time.
ridiculous.
Fires was banned out. Escape to the Wilds also banned out. There was like, what was it? It was like
even
Yeah,
like
but-
Fabled Passage, it had its own Fabled Passage. It even like the weaker, quote unquote, the like less important cards were still like potent as hell. Like all that glitters.
Last time I really got into Standard, that I really played Standard, was Mirrodin.
Really?
And from
Yeah, mine was-
from the seat here, I'm a legacy player. From my seat as a legacy player, is like, yeah, Okra's kind of annoying, I guess. The rest of it is it's more cool than bothersome. Like the giant 3 mana for 3 that's Bone Crusher Giant.
Yes, and then
This-
it
yeah.
prevents all
But
damage.
here's the thing.
So
Which
those-
can't be prevented that turn.
so those cards are fine outside of Standard, but they dominated Standard.
Oh, it's brutal.
Like something like Bone Crusher Giant didn't leave like Standard decks in this whole thing. You were seeing Brazen Borrowers, its whole existence, because they were all 2-for-1s in one card, every single one of them. And it made removal sucked for that period of time. And I don't know if this is still true because I don't play Standard anymore, but removal was horrible
They
in
fixed
Standard.
they fixed the removal. Like removal's much better in Standard now.
But
Well,
that's the thing.
well,
Let,
you could-
let us agree. I'm sorry, Joe, but like that maybe that's the only point of like having a rotating format is actually good. It's like, oh, this Standard is crappy. Okay.
So you just wait a couple months and now it's not,
exactly.
not crappy anymore.
That's the thing. That's the thing, right? Because like from a point of view of like,
Okay.
you can play something else.
But I'll just tell you this much: the red deck wins deck that was huge. I think the guy who I can't remember who won with that year, but the red deck wins that was basically like mostly Eldraine, that won the world championship. I stole that deck. That's right. I net decked, you guys. I net decked. That's right. Don't have a
Ooh.
thought in my head, and I'll do it again. But I still use it for funsies, and it still murders. Like it's still got a huge win percentage. Like it's nuts. Like how crazy. I mean, that Fires of Invention, that thing was ridiculous. Like letting you cast 2 spells for free, like any cost, just cause.
Want to try something fun? You can do the same thing with the original red deck wins from 1994.
That was gonna come on. It's like
But I can't do that on Arena, I don't think.
no, but that's the thing. Like I think the thing is, if we pick powerful cards, right? But red deck wins is literally like the strategy that has been like it's maybe like the game oldest like real strategy of deck building.
Yeah.
But I imagine like would you have the same results if you were playing, for example, with the standard deck that used energy, like the Teamer Teamer energy deck, for example? Would that be as effective in nowadays?
Oh, Teamer's never effective. No, I'm just kidding.
It's hard to read. It's hard to read the power of Standards throughout years because, I mean, you could play unless everyone builds decks and plays them against each other. It's such a different. Standards are so much different. They vary in power level, very, very much.
Agreed.
Where, because like something like a Questing Beast that was it was good in Standard, but it wasn't necessarily the defining card of the Standard format. It would have been the defining card of a lot of Standard formats.
Yep.
Questing Beast was it's one of the most pushed cards ever. And if you put it back in like take it back just Return to Ravnica,
If
you
it
put
gets
Questing Beast and
reprinted, you
Return.
delete everything.
Well,
Yeah.
you take it instead of printing it now, you print it in Return to Ravnica. It dominates Standard. It really does. And like it's every deck and it's the quintessential everyone plays this card. But we're in a more powerful time, so Questing Beast, though played a lot, didn't define the format.
I agree with you. If anyone ever has the experience, they used to do this. I don't have a box near me. They used to do the World Championship decks with the gold border, and
Yeah.
I've had the opportunity of grabbing them and drafting the decks themselves. And no, just for funsies, let's play each other. And we played outside of their respective years.
Wow.
So I played the 2006, 2003 championship deck versus the 2001 championship deck, and like there's no discussion. Is the power, just like Joe was saying, the power level is completely completely nuts. It's
You know-
you go back to 98, 99 decks that had Urza Saga and Force of Will, and on the other side you have Scourge and Onslaught, and there's not a competition there.
You know, it would be fun to do research. Like if we built the decks that we thought were like the most powerful, and then we just like did like spell table one-offs and did some sort of percentages and just projected and tried to hypothesize like what is the most powerful deck.
I
of all time.
Funny thing is-
I have started that, and too much work. I gave up midway.
I have a
Plus-
game designer
plus
inside
something
of me that really want to do that now.
Well, plus what's going to end up happening is you're going to realize that that even though, like after a while, you're going to realize that the newer decks are going to it's going to skew so hard toward newer decks because of power creep.
But Joe,
I
like
disagree with you. I
that's the
strongly
thing. Like
disagree with you.
maybe
there-
it's
there's-
not only. Carry on. Sorry. Alba.
There,
Carry on.
there has been no decks in the history of Magic in any formats, legacy, vintage, modern, whatever you have, stronger than Tolarian Academy decks before the banning of Memory Jar. That was
Oh,
like
wow.
deterministic. You whoever starts the game wins. So I
You-
don't think it's that skewed.
And you say you started like doing research for this, but were you doing it on your own? Is that what you were doing, Elba? You
It was me and a friend, and we were both unemployed at the time. So on one hand, we had the base knowledge and we had all the time in the world. On the other hand, we had no money. So we started building the decks and proxying out the decks and playing and recording. And then he got a job, and then I got a job, and then I quit the job, and then I became a YouTuber, and he's still on that job. And like, hey, remember when we had free time? That was awesome.
Good times.
If you have the list, I have, and when I say I have a like Magic the Gathering store in my apartment. Like, you don't even want to know how many cards I have. It is a problem. It is a problem.
Not a problem, it's a feature.
It is a problem, but I'm also extremely lucky, ridiculously lucky with my polls. If I could at least do that, and then we could put the things together, and I could be like, hey, Alison, we'll do it once a week. Like, I want to call it a deck off, but that sounds kind of dirty.
I fuck it. I'm gonna call it that.
Yeah, once a week we're gonna deck off, and we're just gonna see.
And we're gonna record for everyone to
I
see.
want everybody
But,
to
like-
see who truly has the most potent deck in all of Magic the Gathering.
Who can hold a game for more?
It is trivial to get all the World Championship decks since 1996, since
Well, then
1994.
we'll just proxy them, or
Yeah.
we'll just
It's not hard. There's online things with it, but like what I'm really interested about that, it's not like, of course, probably the newer decks are gonna have more things, and of course, there's the old with the broken strategies on that without the bannings, right? But what I'm really interested is like, it's about like, we're gonna see the curve rising, but into which direction, right? Is this deck faster? Does deck win faster, or he's more consistent, right? And you can, I believe there can be like a small history trace of like the power creep that everybody mentions. Is not like everything going up at once, right? It's just like, hey, ramp got a little bit better, so decks got to play like big creatures faster.
it
Oh,
creeped.
on this set now we have more cards in hand. On this set we are able to get more.
Yeah, they're
direct
definitely
damage.
and like what Elba was saying was it's just we just had more poor design back then, where cards were just stupidly and terribly designed. Stuff still slips through the crack nowadays, but it's a lot less often. And like,
But like no 4/4 vanillas like for 7.
well, just look at like Urza Saga and all those sets. It's just like it's
I
much
think
more-
creatures used to suck, and they
Yes.
made so creatures don't suck anymore. And spells used to be the bee's knees, and now they kind of suck. But it was a very clear.
They
Shit,
just
right?
didn't know what was broken or what was good. Like they printed cards like Time Spiral, where it's like, hey, what if you could just reshuffle your whole hand back into your library and then untap those lands? Oh, cool! What a design!
But that's the thing, like if you did that and then you're playing like Llanowar Elves and like what's the name, Force of Nature, like that's not exactly broken when you're like your biggest threat on the board is a Force of Nature. That's okay. Playing extra turn is just 8 more damage. The guy has like 4 lightning bolts and a goddamn 3 Sarah Angels. It's like it's not that broken. It's broken when you have like you can put an Arset in and it's like, hey, Days Undoing.
Look, see,
Ta-da.
we can proxy. Like I may not have a Yawgmoth's or was it Yawgmoth's will? Is that
That's
the big?
one of them.
So
The broken scarlet
this
like
one
necklace.
will be Yawgmoth's will. I'm working on it right now. I'm doing a live proxy. Wait for it.
I recently made a video about Necropotence and how I believe it is the most powerful black card ever printed.
It is.
I gotta be honest. Like part of that video just like got into my hands. Like, okay, I really want to have that. Right.
Yawgmoth's will.
Necropotent's stronger than Yawgmoth's Bargain.
It smells good.
I can't see it.
I would say so because 3 mana versus 6 mana.
I mean, it's a,
Even though Yawgmoth's Bargain is banned, it's not banned anymore. Sorry.
No, it's
So
the one. Maybe
the
it's the one with the
low-
crazy. I think it's maybe it's Kefwalker, but it's like sort of like a monster kind of coming out. Yawgmoth's. I think it's Yawgmoth's will.
Yeah.
Is the one card.
It is that you can play everything from your graveyard.
I was so
and then
excited.
they made the Bridge from Another World. That's the same card but costs 1 less mana. And surprise, it broke Legacy and had to be banned.
Oh man, I was so excited when I got that Yawgmoth's.
Underworld Breach. That's what you were thinking.
Yeah, Underworld Bridge, exactly.
Underworld
It
Breach
also,
was
al-
red.
also
though.
running. It's also running. It's also one of the most popular combos in CDH nowadays.
It was red though,
Yeah.
which was like, I mean, red graveyard. I mean, get out of my graveyard, red.
It just turns out that when you're actually comboing and actually playing the strongest deck, colors don't matter because fixing is way too good. Highly because of actually no, it's probably just mostly because of fetch lands.
Can you imagine
but you
mana
don't get
fixing
bothered by
so
that?
good
Oh.
nowadays? Mana fixing so good nowadays that it's even better than when we had dual lands, like old duels with no drawbacks.
Like the
Stupid good.
fixing is it's not 100. It is such a high percentage. Why mana is so good as its fetch lands? It's ridiculous. And like I don't like I get on my soapbox for this one all the time, and I'll say it all the time. They could be banned out of every single format based on actual power level because they're actually that absurdly good. And we have to sit here and deal with them everywhere. They're in Modern, they're in Legacy, they're in Commander, and it's just like mana's perfect. If you have money, your mana's perfect. You don't have to worry ever.
I call me old fashioned, but I believe that the red should stay out of graveyards. They need to stay out of graveyards. Graveyards are for.
But
like,
Alper, what about Phoenixes?
Phoenixes are
Phoenix
an
is a-
abomination.
Point there, he does.
Phoenixes
That's
are an
true.
abomination, and
Phoenixes have been around for a long time.
Phoenixes have been around for a long time, but so has the plague. And so,
No, that's Phoenician.
wait, finishing?
Phoenician.
Oh, finish me?
The,
I
No.
fucking hate-
the plural Phoenix.
No. Phoenician, the actual people who lived with the Sumerian.
Oh, I
like,
thought you were thinking. I
20,000.
was thinking of finish him. Like
No.
I was like, that's not
The-
the right game.
they've been there for a long time. No. That's never mind. That joke fell flatter than a pancake.
Sure, somebody got it. And so there's probably someone who's watching that was dying laughing, and we're all just like, "What?"
Oh,
I think it's,
Thank you, Joe. I'll hang on to that thought.
It's,
It's called Magic and Morals for a reason. We're not here to be.
yes, exactly. Like it's not your fault, Elba. You're just smart, and I apologize, but you know, you're just there's a special room in hell when you tell a joke that's over the room's head. He told the joke, and I'm like, "Die."
I missed it. I admit to missing it as well.
Well, no, I just don't get it because I don't know the knowledge, but I do know this: red, stay out of my graveyard. Just stay out of my graveyard, red.
Every color plays graveyard nowadays. in different ways.
Graveyard.
You are only saying that because you're a red lover.
I know.
Yeah.
You've
Let
got
me
your-
have my head deck. Let me have my burns.
I'm a Gruul player at heart.
The deck plays Lightning Bolt because in the head, Lightning Bolt is Dark Ritual.
Lightning
Alper,
doesn't come from
this is-
graveyards.
Lightning doesn't come from graveyards, but
Yeah, but that's because the graveyard is also a bad term for it. It's a cool term for it, but it's not a graveyard because your spells go there. So that's not really how it works. It's kind of just history at that point. But also that sounds lame, right? Graveyard sounds way cool.
But if you can bring creatures back from the dead, that's a graveyard.
It makes sense for creatures, but like when I cast Lightning Bolt targeting you, it goes to my graveyard. which realistically would just more like be like a memory, I guess.
That's
Something
that's
that
where
happened.
the game that's where the game turns more into a mechanic than a fantasy thing, right? Because it makes sense for creatures to go in the graveyard area, but
It's a discard pile. I mean, which
Discard pile.
actually makes more sense, but it
We
doesn't
should
sound cool.
create a new graveyard and call it the ether hole and put all the spells in that one, and then
put the spells in your
graveyards-
hole. That's
leave
what
the
you're saying.
graveyards for creatures only, and then the ether hole
I-
is where all the spells go.
I complained so much when they changed play to battlefield. You guys,
I mean, I think to be fair, it's literally just it sounds cool, right? Like it sounds so much cooler than play, or I don't even know what, like I don't know what else to call it. But obviously it doesn't work perfectly, but like it sounds cool. Battlefield sounds really cool.
I remember when I was trying to learn to play Commander, and there's this one guy, he kept saying ETB, and I could never, and he like wouldn't tell me what it means. He'd be like ETB, and I'm like, and they're like, don't watch me. And I'm just like, he's like, enter the battlefield. I'm like, gatekeeper, like gatekeeper, ETB to a new. Like, I was like, I think it was my third game, and I'm like, ETB. What is it? Does it say that on the card?
Is that the drug he's taking or something? Is that a medication?
I was like, yeah, I was just like, you could have entered the battlefield. All right. Or when they're like EDH, you guys want to play a game of EDH? Okay. You mean Commander?
What's your command? Is it Nicol Bolas? Is it the original Nicol Bolas? Because then you can call it
They're like,
EDH.
no, it's EDH. I'm like, well, where's your dragons? Erectile dysfunction Highlander. The end.
You can make a shirt out of that.
Stop recording. Games.
That's
over.
it.
Erectile dysfunction Highlander may cause.
You can make a
harm.
shirt out of that. You can make a shirt out of that.
I have actually. I have one.
Do you?
I have another shirt that says 100% like Commander Assault. It got a little nickel bolus on it, and I also have a shirt that says Proxy. Big lotus on it, and I have a shirt that says "Please like me" with a tear. Just kidding.
Oh Christ.
It's a joke. Please like me.
Okay, I'll go again.
Stand in my graveyard,
Well.
you Reds. All right, guys. Well, it's been fun, and I always enjoy your company, and thank you so much for coming to join
How
us.
boring my hair is.
Bye bye.